So then once you were there, you were there for a bit and you learned
Yeah.
what you did. And then you decided to go in a little bit different direction.
Yeah.
And let's talk about where you are now with Legacy Wealth.
Yeah. So while I was there, we were working with, ultra high net worth clients because Marty's such a, strong advisor and that was his client segment.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those and a lot of, and, most of what we did was really product focused. We worked very heavily with private equity products, for example. And so a lot of those clients had a CFP either on retainer or running a family office. And a lot of the CFPs would come into meetings with us, or they'd be on calls, or they just have a POA, and we'd work directly with them at times. And they understood tax implications and estate planning implications and large upcoming transactions for the family that we weren't privy to. And that
Mm.
was really eye-opening for me. And we'd have like these big meetings, and I'd be sitting on one side of the table with Marty, and then the client and their CFP would be sitting across the table from us. And everything was, very, very cordial. He had a great relationship with his clients. But I just sort of said, I want to be on that side of the table with my clients, just sort of as a
Mhm.
visual. Of course, now
Right.
when I meet with clients, I still sit across from them. That's just how you're supposed to do it. But that's really sort of the image of how I was like, oh, I really understand how the CFP is working more intimately with the family and understands placement. And so I said, I want to go back to school. So I went back to school. I got my MBA. I got my CFP designation, and then I went to launch my business. But at that point, I saw the ultra high net worth market as an overserved community. And I was 20, I mean, I probably started all this when I was like 26. I was 29 when I finished my programs, got my MBA designation, launched the business, and had my first kid. It was a busy year for me.
All right.
So, but I saw myself, my husband and I, and all of my peers were making huge financial decisions all the time. And we don't really have the guidance. And our parents' model wasn't always the best model that we should be using. And that could be based on, first off, who you're choosing to spend your life with, but also
Mhm.
career decisions and financial transactions. And if you should take a step back from your career for daycare, for example, starting to understand tax planning strategies and long-term
Mhm.
investment and retirement saving strategies. Now we need life insurance all of a sudden because we have a house and a kid. What does that really look like for the average person that was going through the life phases that I was going through? And so I
Mhm.
said, okay, I'm going to take all this knowledge that I've attained and apply it, but I'm going to target a different audience. And so I call that segment Henry's. Are you familiar with that acronym? Have you heard of that
Yeah.
one yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So high earning, not rich yet.
Yes.
So, and it's a lot of folks that really, we're in this accumulation phase and really building wealth, but we want to just be mindful of how to do it in the best way possible.
Right.
So, that's really where I went when I pivoted and launched my business, and really started targeting those clients to make those decisions as efficiently as possible.
Nice. So it really is a completely different business. Many of the older advisors are more product based,
Right.
and but tremendous amount of knowledge there. But that now you've gone in a different direction, more of a planning based program.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Great.
most of my clients, when we first start working together, we create a financial plan up front. And then once we develop that plan, and it takes a few months, it's usually like 3 4 meetings, then we start working on implementation. And a lot of my investment recommendations don't really start coming until we're more in that implementation phase because it's harder to gauge how we should be progressing with our investments and what we are targeting without really understanding all the other aspects of where their financial needs are and what their financial goals are. So it's
Mhm.
it's definitely a little bit because traditionally investment
Mhm.
advice was the first thing we would talk about and
Mhm.
everything else was subsidiary. And now I engage first on the actual financial plan, looking at everything from debt and taxes, insurance, cash flow needs, short-term goals, long-term goals, and
Mhm.
retirement choices before I will look at actually investments.
So, Dana, do you work with families similar to the practice when you were with Martin Shafroff, similar families, or more newer families?
I do have a few high net worth clients, and it just was a good fit, either from a referral purpose or because they were aligned with all the other planning needs that they had. But the majority of my clients, I will say, are in more of an accumulation phase. So usually, a lot of dual income households where you have solid six-figure earners, respectively, but we're not quite in that ultra high net worth category.